Black Clover episode 100, baby. I ain't gonna lie, this is a contender. Yes, a contender for one of the best fights in anime of 2019. Yo, drop a like if you was feeling this episode. Asta and Yuno versus Licht. Oh my gosh, I can't stress enough. Black Clover episode 100. They just knocked it out the park. The art, the animation, the choreography of the fight, just everything about it. Asta and Yuno, Licht, finally awakening. Oh my, the real Licht, like, Black Clover greatness, baby. Let's go. Yeah, I'm a little bit excited, you know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it.
Whether Facebook, Twitter, or the two, make sure to steer clear, cause I'm coming through like...
So Black Clover has reached a milestone, people. 100 episodes. The same series that a lot of people counted out from the very beginning. And I ain't gonna lie, when it first started, I had my doubts. There was a lot of issues, especially, you know, when the anime started. We had the voice of Asta, the direction that he had with the yelling and all that stuff. I had my doubts too, but man, have we come a long way with Black Clover episode 100. I just gotta say that I was just through the moon for this one. Like, yo, don't get me wrong, we've had some great fights in anime this year. Like, it's gonna be hard to top something like Demon Slayer episode 19. You know what I'm saying? That was a great fight too. But don't count Black Clover episode 100 out, baby, because the final fight, or well, not final fight, but the second half of the episode, the fight of Asta and Yuno, when they went up against the real Licht, they just knocked it out the park. They brought in a very, very high profile animator. He's the director, and I'm not sure if he directs his whole series, but I know he was involved in this masterpiece. Tatsuya Yoshihara, like, phenomenal, just phenomenal. Let's break down what this episode comprised of, because it wasn't just only that. There was two halves to this episode, and it seems as though it was handled by a few different people, because the first half of the episode, that good or great art and animation was kind of sprinkled in, because we had the awakening of Yuno. Like, a lot of stuff happened in this episode. We had Yuno, which at first obviously we're there like, holy cow, like, how is Asta gonna do this? Because it's Yuno, it's basically the Golden Dawn right there. They got Mimosa there on a cross, kind of reminded me of like Orihime from Bleach. I can't remember what part it was, but she kind of looked like Orihime from Bleach. She's tied up to the cross there, and it's basically Asta outnumbered. You got Raya there. You got just the Golden Dawn members, Klaus, Haman. You know, it's looking real bad right there. But the art and animation for the first half of the episode, it was sprinkled in the great stuff, but it was mainly just like average, standard. It wasn't really until like halfway through the episode where it was just like, it went from a decent 7 to like a 10 out of 10, because the first half of the episode, it was like, you know, coming fresh off the heels of a lot of stuff that happened. The fight with Mario Leona, which I didn't talk about that. I haven't talked about the anime in the past couple weeks, but that fight with Mario Leona, I wish that they would have had the same art and animation that this episode had. Like, honestly, if Black Clover was as consistent as what this episode had, and had that type of level of art and animation, it would be a contender with all of the greats right now that are out. Like, it would be where people would be putting it in the same conversation of My Hero Academia as far as popularity wise, because Black Clover, quality wise, go to the manga, anybody will tell you it's dominating. It's really high up there. But with the anime, it's episodes like this that really make me wish, man, why isn't Black Clover a seasonal anime? When you have fights like this, it just makes me like, oh my god, if this was like a 24 episode season, the Elf arc. Oh my gosh. Because again, like the past few episodes, you know, the Mario Leona fight, Asta and Zora coming through, and everything with Raya, the fight with Raya, and just all of it would have been freaking phenomenal. So obviously they missed out on the past few episodes of making some high profile stuff, but for episode 100, they celebrated it with making it an incredible fight. Going into it, Yuno awakening. This just shows that there's something really special about Yuno, or there's something special about his circumstances, because while all the other people that took on the elf appearance, you know, they were kind of infested or taken over by the soul of these elves. Again, like, look at Klaus, look at, you know, Haman, and of course, well, Raya, you know, he's Raya, whatever. It seems as though he is who he was back in the day, whatnot. But they were taken over. They're just on some evil, we're gonna kill you, you know, we hate humans or whatever. But Yuno manages to break out of it, and that's again what really makes it an even more interesting situation of like, okay, so what's different about Yuno? Why is he able? Is he just that damn good? Is he that damn special that is like, yo, he's too strong to be taken over? Like, yo, he's too much of an OP beast for them to put the dude into that spell, that trance. Cause I'm just there like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, he broke out of that. It was, I don't want to say easy, but it didn't seem to really faze him. Like, he didn't, at one given point at all, make any type of, like, nasty remarks. He didn't say anything messed up to Asta. He was just kind of there waiting. And again, it was building up where it's like, okay, what is Asta going to do? So they kind of stacked the stakes a bit high. It's like, Asta's outnumbered now. How is he going to get out of this? Raya brought him into this because, of course, from where the last one left off, Raya grabbed Asta, brought him over, and is like, Asta, what are you gonna do, fam? Like, you outnumbered. But then Yuno kind of turns the tables and he's like, nah, we ain't doing this right now. And that battle right there, it wasn't until actually Asta and Yuno charged in that the art and animation picked up, because when they're just kind of talking and standing around in the revelation that Yuno is not really messing with them, it was alright. Honestly, Yuno's transformation when he looks in the elf, that's the best Yuno looks. Like, don't get me wrong, Yuno, he has a cool character design and whatnot, but that is my favorite Yuno look out of the whole series thus far, when he has the whole angelic looking thing with the halfway crown and everything. Yuki Tabata, because this is obviously inspired from the original art or whatever from the manga, he makes just the most craziest, awesome character designs. And Yuno in that elf look is like, man, I wish he could retain that look in a way. Like, maybe that'd be like his Super Saiyan transformation, which, by the way, a lot of people keep pointing it out, and I pointed it out a couple episodes ago in my last review. But yeah, it does look like a Super Saiyan aura around him, which it is what it is. It's become a standard practice now. How many times you see auras in anime or whatever, and it looks like Super Saiyan, but they try to make it look slightly different. It's a little bit darker, but it's basically the same thing, whatever. But regardless, first we have the clash again, where they take them out pretty easy peasy. You know what I'm saying? Like, Asta and Yuno together. It shows that, opposed to, because don't get me wrong, I will keep on saying this, Black Clover is the closest thing to a spiritual successor to Naruto that we have right now. A lot of people were saying it was My Hero for the longest time, and My Hero Academia did start off feeling very Naruto-esque in a lot of elements, but it kind of went off and did another thing. Black Clover still retains that. It still retains it, but at the same time, it does a difference. While Asta and Yuno, they do give a bit of a striking resemblance to, like, Naruto and Sasuke for certain points, like when Asta's like, yo, what's going on? And the camera zooms into Yuno. It's like, okay, it does feel like a Naruto and Sasuke situation, but the difference, the thing that defines them and separates them from being like just, oh, Naruto and Sasuke clones, is that they work together. They'll work together, and it's not like you gotta break their arm to do so. You know what I'm saying? And they work together very well, which, don't get me wrong, when Naruto and Sasuke do work together, they do a good job of it, and later on in the series, they become friends and whatnot. But throughout the beginning and for the longest time, the entirety of the original manga, they didn't really rock together. These two will, because they look at it as a friendly rivalry. This whole manga, their rivalry isn't like Sasuke being mad at Naruto and jealous or this and that and the third. It's like, nah, I'm gonna be the, Wizard King. I'm gonna be the Wizard King. So it's kind of just a friendly matchup. And this one showed, though, when they worked together, like, they knocked them off easy peasy, which, you gotta think, these are Golden Dawn members. You know what I'm saying? On top of that, they have this elf power up. So for them to do that together, freaking beast. And then, of course, Asta with his black transformation, the black power is like, I don't even know, which one do you guys like better? Which character design you think is more fire? The elf look, or Asta's black power? Honestly, I like both of them a lot. I like the way Asta just kind of becomes like a monstrosity of force, but he still retains control over it. Again, things that separate Black Clover from just being completely carbon copies, opposed to like a Bleach or a Naruto where they had those inner demons that took over. It's kind of like the black power's there, but Asta's still controlling it. He's still himself. He just doesn't have a good grasp of being able to hold it for a long period of time. And I like how also the anime separates certain aspects of, like, in the manga, there's some stuff where I'm like, it's clear as day, a lot of the times comes across as a plot device to egg Asta on to push him forward. In this one, like, yeah, you see that it's like Asta doesn't want to look weak in front of Yuno. He doesn't want to let his power immediately dissipate and go away in front of Yuno. But it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like, oh, that's the only reason Yuno's here. It's just so that Asta can be like, nah, I'm not going to give up. I'm just as cool as Yuno. It doesn't really feel that apparent in the anime. And the first half of the episode already, pretty damn cool. Art and animation when they go up against Klaus and, Haman. Whatever, it was dope. But then, the second half, once they start falling down, and Licht, the real body of Licht, grabs them, and he just puts him down, and they build a lot of suspense and hype over this guy's power, that he's not even using magic to float and grab them. It's just that his mana and his aura is so freaking strong and incredible. That dude is just up there like, alright, whatever. And I like that it's keeping him mysterious. He's very, he hasn't said nothing yet. And Raya's just there in disbelief as well. It's like, we have a spectator with Raya, very strong person, but also he's kind of tapped out, so he can't really do too much, because if not, then, he would jump him. And then things kick off, where the episode takes off. And again, I gotta say, I do think that this is a contender. At the very least, it's going to be top 5 anime fights of 2019 for shonen anime, period. Like, there's gotta be top 5 at the very least. I know there's some great stuff that happened this year, but the quality of what they did, and I looked at even the storyboards, that's how interested I was in this episode, and it just looked phenomenal every step of the way of how they animated this. And seeing when Licht grabs his sword, which I think is what, the Demon Slayer? No, it's not Demon Slayer. Hey, Tanjiro ain't here, calm down. But when he grabs his sword or whatever, you see that there's a clash right there, the difference between, because seemingly Asta's swords and Grimoire are supposed to be Licht's. That's why Raya keeps saying like, oh, you know, his swords is right there and it's not reacting, whatever. And then Asta grabbing the sword and shit like that. It was just so freaking beast. But you could tell that Licht is on a whole other level. Like, honestly, again, there's so much inspiration, and I don't care. I'll say it every episode review if I want, of like a Naruto. Like, if Patri was Obito, then the real Licht is like a Madara, and it shows that, like, with everything that they did in this episode, don't get me wrong, it was fire, the team up, them yelling out, oh, you know, he's my rival and all that stuff, great. But Licht ain't really, like, you know what I'm saying, they ain't besting him, they ain't really doing that much towards him. It's like he's still keeping his own, and it's 2 against 1 with all of these incredible power-ups, you know, the elf power-up, the black power, and Licht is still, like, you know, doing his thing. And the scale of this fight, like, you could see that Black Clover's fights have increased in the scale of it. Like, you know, Yuno flying up into the air, chasing after him, and, you know, Licht just kind of like, again, he's taking it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't really much to him, which this is a legendary fighter, so of course he should be at this level. I'm glad that it wasn't like, even though these 2 prodigies are putting in work, Licht ain't really all that bothered. He ain't really like sweating too much. It's not really affecting him all that much. So you got Yuno going after him, and then when Asta gets up after getting bobbed down into the water and he goes flying up into the sky, when the soundtrack comes on, I love when anime do that. Whereas like the fight gets so incredible, the art and animation just turns from like a 7 or an 8 to a 10, and the soundtrack comes on of the theme song. Da, 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 da. Ah, I loved it. And seeing them team up against Licht and trying to do their thing, but still, I mean, even after they knocked him or whatever, Licht ain't really, you know what I'm saying, you can't keep a great dog down. He's basically supposed to be like the Madara of this arc, and it shows, because despite everything, he's still ready to go, you know what I mean? And you can see that this is going to be an incredible fight. Honestly, like, I really wish we could get more episodes like episode 100. If Black Clover was seasonal, I think Black Clover would be just as, if not more popular than some of the ones that are the most popular right now. And I don't want to pick on like My Hero or stuff like that, but Black Clover would be up there. This arc shows that it could be up there if we had stuff like this consistently every episode or every few episodes, something like that, because it was just phenomenal. Again, the choreography, the battle, everything, seeing them kind of trying everything that they have in their sleeve. You know what I'm saying? Asta using the last bit of the black power he has, and it's still to no avail. It's like, this is good stuff. And it's not like they have the ace in the hole of Mimosa being able to heal them, because Mimosa's like, I'm tapped out, I don't got magic. So it's definitely creating a struggle, and the build up, it's like, it's an incredible fight, but you're also getting an incredible build up at the same time of like, this guy is just way too OP for them to mess with. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's out of their league with everything that they have. Phenomenal episode, Black Clover episode 100. Probably one of the best, if not the best looking fights of the series thus far. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was some greatness with Yami versus Patri, and you know, the Wizard King Julius versus Patri, even though, you know, anyway, this fight right here, I think when we go and I'm considering doing a video at the end of the year, top fights of 2019, this has to be in there. I don't know if it'll compete and be able to outdo Demon Slayer episode 19. I gotta rewatch that or whatever, but the intensity of it, getting that real shonen feel, like, this reminds me, it feels so nostalgic. It really reminds me of like that feeling I got back in the day when I was watching the big 3 every week and seeing just like that camaraderie of like people on rivalries, but it's not like a I hate you rivalry. I love this episode. Great episode. I'm giving this episode, I can't give it the 10 because the first half of the episode, it wasn't that amazing. I mean, there was some plot twists and stuff like that, but the art and animation was in the beginning of the episode, but it's still like 9 to a 9.5 out of 10. And if it was just the second half on, absolute 10 out of 10 out of the park. Black Clover greatness. If you're not watching it, go watch it or go read the manga, one or the other. This story, I love it. It is everything that I love from shonen, taking a lot of the tropes, flipping them a bit, twisting them a bit, doing its own thing, and keeping cool characters, awesome music, and Black Clover greatness, baby. I loved it. Very curious what you guys thought about this episode, though, for starters. How do you think Asta and Yuno are going to be able to do this? It seems as though Licht is, just out of the league with everything that they did. Asta's probably tapped out because he was already, drained on the black power. He probably don't got that much of it left, if any at all. So how are they going to be able to take this guy out, or is it going to take a lot more of a stronger force to do something to him? Again, for anime only, manga readers are going to be like, well, actually, this is how it's going to happen. Relax. And was this the best looking episode of Black Clover thus far, or one of the best episodes of Black Clover thus far? I gotta say, fights wise, it's up there. It could be the best fight of Black Clover thus far. And do you think that this is a contender for best fight of 2019? I mean, they pulled out all the stops. Studio Period, we give them a lot of shit, and they deserve it a lot of the time. But when they decide, you know what, we want to make something great, they come through. This fight was not a letdown at all, and I really hope episodes like this continue to elevate the popularity of Black Clover and people stop sleeping on this series. The series is so freaking good. The series is, if you love Naruto, you'll get a reminiscent feel, but again, it's its own thing at the same time, and that's what I love about Black Clover greatness, baby. And your overall thoughts and expectation for the future of the anime? I'm sure it'll be a while before we get another episode at the level and quality of this episode, but my gosh, give its flowers when it's due, and Black Clover episode 100 definitely deserves its flowers, baby. That's all I have for this one, though. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications if you want to be notified whenever I drop a Black Clover video or any other stuff that I cover. Hit it, all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links of course in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in, and Black Clover greatness, baby. I can't get enough.
Enjoy the next ride, but I was the best ride.